Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Westgate Recreation Center. My name is Shannon Harden. I'm a Columbus City Council member, and I have the honor of chairing the Public Service and Transportation Committee on Columbus City Council. Certainly want to thank our center manager, Ms. Denica Bruce, and her staff for opening up the building and welcoming us to the West Side. We're certainly appreciative. Also want to highlight my Director of Public Service and Transportation, Jennifer Gallagher, and Steve Shoney, who's Director of Development for the City of Columbus. I am really excited about today's announcement. As we know, our city is growing. We recently passed Indianapolis as the 14th largest city in the country. We boast the fastest population growth in the Midwest. If we look at the 5-year period between 2010 and 2015, our region grew by over 115,000 residents. People are attracted to our city because we're young, we're a hub of innovation, we put diversity and inclusion first. So looking forward, our region could grow between 500,000 and 1 million people over the next 30 years. Amazing numbers, really, to wrap our heads around. So given these projections, we have to ask ourselves, what will growth look like in our city? How do we accommodate new jobs? How will we accommodate housing, public spaces, and transit for our community? How can we be sure that equity is part and partial to our growth? So we have choices before us. We can further sprawl onto undeveloped land, or we can densify. The recent Insight 2050 study showed us that density is a good thing. Better for our health, it's better for our environment, and better for our finances. So how can municipalities, planning agencies, transit authorities, the private sector, and residents come together to encourage the right kind of growth? We're here today to announce a critical step towards that right kind of growth. To discuss the collaborative effort, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Mr. William Murdoch.
Thank you, sir. Well, good morning, and thank you, Councilman Harden, and all of our local partners here today. We are really excited to partner with all of you on a potentially transformative study about how Central Ohio can not just get ahead of growth, but take advantage of that growth to improve our quality of life. Now, as you may know, MORPC is an association of local governments, and we help the region get prepared for its future. And as the councilman said, we're expecting Central Ohio to add upwards of 1 million people by 2050. To help the region be prepared for that, our partners created something called Insight 2050. And what Insight 2050 did is it showed that compact development, infill, redevelopment, more walkable environments are going to be more responsive to the changing demographics and development patterns and the increased market demand for more housing options, more transportation options. We know that these types of options and this type of compact development can help reduce congestion, improve air quality, decrease costs for our households and our families. All of these things could improve our quality of life in Central Ohio. And we know that with this focused approach to growth, Central Ohio's communities have the potential to capture some of that new market demand. They have the potential to support some of the smart mobility options that our friends at Smart Columbus are developing, and provide the benefits that we know come with that type of development. It also presents an opportunity to look at what we call high-capacity transportation options. Simply, these are mass transit options that move a lot of people along corridors quickly. These types of options could support redevelopment, they could provide more accessible options for residents and employees, and help improve everything from congestion and housing to the environment. And we know that to be ready for the future, we need to plan for it, and we think the time for Central Ohio to plan for it is now. And we know that we can plan for infrastructure, transportation, and development in a way that we can add 1 million people and still have a great quality of life here in Central Ohio. So on behalf of our partners, we're excited to kick off the regional corridor analysis this morning. And what we're going to be doing is looking at 5 key Central Ohio corridors in different ways. We want to be looking at different ways, different scenarios for growth and how to accommodate it. through infrastructure and more. And so those corridors range from why we're here at Westgate this morning, the West Broad Street corridor, to the East Main Street corridor, northwest up through OSU and Dublin. We're looking at a southeast corridor towards Rickenbacker and looking northeast towards Polaris and Westerville. Each of these corridors is unique. If you know Central Ohio well, you know each one is going to have its own unique demands, unique situations, and at the same time, they all are similar because they have a high level of opportunity for new development along these corridors, but they can't get there without knowing what types of infrastructure, what types of incentives and strategies are going to be needed to accommodate that growth. So our analysis is going to be looking at all of these things, and we're also going to be looking at those high-capacity transportation options. But we're going to be looking at all types of technologies along each corridor. This is going to require us to work thoughtfully with each corridor, its businesses, its residents, and make sure that we develop a strategy for each one that makes sense. Now, I don't need to tell the folks in this room, since we're the smart city of Columbus and a Hyperloop One Global Challenge winner, we are in a revolution of transportation right here in Central Ohio. And this all is happening to us at the same time we're growing quickly. As we become a region of up to 3 million people, our transportation needs are going to become more and more urgent. But being a larger region means that we can raise our expectations for more and better options than those that were available to us 30 years ago when we were half the size. And we think this is the right time to look at those options and to get ready for growth, take advantage of that new technology, and to connect it all together. And that's what this effort's aiming to do. We're going to hopefully learn a lot and get some good actionable next steps for moving forward so that we can get ahead of that growth. And so today is our kickoff of that effort. And speaking of growth and getting ahead of making our region better, I'd like to introduce Alex Fisher, our friend and president and CEO of the Columbus Partnership, who's going to talk about the economic opportunities and how this makes sense for Central Ohio. Let's welcome Alex Fisher.
Thank you, William and Councilman Hardin. This is a fantastic effort. The Columbus Partnership is proud to stand with all of our partners as a partner in this effort. I hope that this starts a continued conversation over the next decade of the growth of our community. We at the Partnership, a group of private sector CEOs, believes that thinking about the master planning and growth of our community in the right ways is one of the most important things that we as an organization of private sector leaders can be involved in. And just like everything else that we do, in the spirit of the Columbus Way, we do it in partnership and public-private partnership. That's how we get things done in Columbus, and the spirit of this public-private partnership, thinking about the growth trajectory of our community and how we make sure that we are thoughtful, orderly, and planned in that growth in the newest and creative ways that bring new technologies to the table, that bring new ways of thinking are going to be really, really important. I never met him, don't know a lot about him, but I admire Governor Rhodes from many years ago. An individual who led and spearheaded urban planning in his day that led to the creation and the building of a beltway. And I've got to imagine that when that was done way back then, that people must have thought the governor was crazy to be building that beltway through cornfields and soybean farms at the time. And now, these many decades later, can you imagine our region without it? And that's the long-range thinking that we've got to be committed to so that we don't become Austin or Charlotte, cities that are approaching nearly an hour average commute time. And there are a lot of things I admire about those cities and a lot of things that we can learn from them from economic development. But one of the things that we can also learn is that we have to be prepared to manage our growth and to do it in a way that maintains our quality of life, maintains our ability to move around. I applaud the city of Columbus. Shannon, you and your members of council, the mayor, think regionally. It's not just the city of Columbus. We recognize that the city of Columbus is the 14th largest city. It's our state capital. It is the hub of this region, but it's not the end all. And it's going to take all of our regional organizations, townships, and cities working together, our regional counties working together to come up with solutions. So I applaud the city of Columbus, though, for taking that regional approach versus a parochial approach. Together, in public-private partnership, we can plan the future of this city. Not only we can do it, we have a mandate to do it. Because if we don't, then that economic growth that we are enjoying right now will come to a screeching halt. We can't allow our growth trajectory to stop. We've got to accelerate it. The way to accelerate it is to think about the transportation networks of the future. Somebody that's helping in this effort is the leadership of CODA. Emil Williams is stepped in at an important time and is acting as the president and CEO, is a great partner, is helping us to think through the role of transportation systems, and would like to invite him to be the next person here at the podium to talk about this important effort.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Alex. On behalf of the 1,100 employees at CODA, we're really excited to be part of this important effort here today. CODA is excited to be a supporting partner along with MORPC, the City of Columbus, and the Columbus District Council of the Urban Land Institute, and our many partners on this first-of-a-kind analysis in our region. CODA fully supports this collaborative study and appreciate how all the partners recognize the connection between land use and mobility. I am particularly excited because the regional corridor analysis complements CODA's NextGen, a community-driven vision for future of public transit in the region. NextGen actually prioritizes high-capacity transit corridors. That is, the regional corridors analysis will be evaluating, in addition to enhanced bus service and smart mobility options. In fact, in January, CODA will be introducing the CMAX, bus rapid transit in the Cleveland Avenue corridor, one of the many study areas. We see CMAX as the first of many transformative projects moving the needle in terms of high-capacity mobility options in the region. By focusing on land use and the future of development in these corridors, the study will demonstrate how high-capacity transit will promote economic development, improve mobility, and enhance the quality of life in our region. It is important that investing in transit results in significant economic impacts. For example, we believe that every dollar invested in public transportation, there's a $4 economic return to the economy. And more than 50,000 jobs are created every $1 billion of investment in public transportation. So it's really important that we look at how we can improve mobility in the region. We all know that up to 1 million residents will be providing needed alternative transportation options. And so the study reinforces our commitment to making a rapid growth sustainable for generations to come. CODA look forward to working with all of you over the next year as we complete this important component project in the region. Now I'm pleased to introduce a great partner and ally in public transit and mobility, Jaromir Steiner.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you, and thank you, Councilman. And ULI, Urban Land Institute, if you're not a member, please join. Urban Land Institute mission is to contribute to the wellness, to the happiness of our community and the prosperity of our community through leadership in land use policies. We are like a hammer who thinks every problem is a nail. We believe that every problem is a land use problem. So we believe that today, if we want to improve, say, inclusionary housing, fair housing, land use policies are important. We believe transit is a major tool to help land use policies. We believe that decisions made by multiple jurisdictions about land use will impact the economic prosperity of our region in the future. We are a gathering organization. We don't champion any specific group. We are not American Planners Association, American Institute for Architects, home builders, apartment builders, shopping center builders. We are not government, specialists in development or public policies. We are not mayors. We try to group all those people as they intersect on land use policies. And the Columbus way is absolutely remarkable. I met my peers. There are 54 councils like Columbus around the nation. Very few of them have the degree of cooperation we have in this town, and I really appreciate Alex emphasizing it. The Columbus way not only is taught by Harvard, but also it's a real thing here. And this effort would not be possible, and I would like to emphasize that without the strong support from the partnership, without strong support from the foundation. I don't know if everybody is here from the foundation, but obviously COTA and the city of Columbus and MORPC, but also all the towns and villages who joined us in this effort. I mean, that's not often. I mean, well, we have right now 6, 7, 8. Well, how many? Yeah, 6, 7, yeah. Okay, 6 or 7 I was saying yesterday. I didn't know the exact count. 7 towns who are working with us on the same issue, that we are understanding now that policies have to be solved together and not, separately. We are not looking at transit because we are the 14th largest city who doesn't have transit, so let's do one so we have one. We are not doing it, or we are not refusing to do it, because you can get anywhere in Columbus in 20 minutes. By the way, that's a myth. Has anybody tried to go anywhere, at 6 o'clock, So I'm not sure that's totally true either. But what we are trying to do here to determine if transit can be used as an urban planning tool which transcends, boundaries of cities and villages to address issues of mobility, access to work, inclusionary housing issues and zoning issues. The way ULI is helping right now, we are giving teams of experts. I mean, we are lining up the best attorneys in town, the best experts and consultants in town to help us with the issue of zoning, with issues of public-private policies, inclusionary housing, because all those issues require input from all branches so that the process doesn't get hijacked in ineffective ways. I mean, we want to make sure it's the Columbus way and it's a win-win, solution here. And the last thing I want to say is to please make time to participate to the work that will be done by Joe's firm. And they are really an international leader. I mean, I spoke to his boss yesterday, 5 a.m. in Chinatown. I mean, in China. He was in China and he couldn't sleep, so I got him on the phone. And I want to discuss something actually about transit in Columbus. I mean, we had some ideas and I wanted to discuss with him. And he is really very excited working with us. He's saying, I mean, you are amazingly forward. He said lots of people in San Jose and, San Jose, California, not the one in Costa Rica. Cities in California could take example from the way you are working together and trying to be the cutting edge. All I hope is that we'll not be building the last dinosaur of transit systems, but we'll be building the first of the new version of transit systems that nobody has done before. Our timing is absolutely perfect. Our timing is perfect because we are arriving at this intersection of technological changes. I mean, it's like before building freeways. We are kind of just there right now on transit, and what we are going to build is nothing like anything we have seen before, even in the world. I don't think what we are thinking about exists anywhere, even in Europe or Latin America yet. I mean, we're very proud to go to Curitiba and look at the rapid bus transit and look at the metro train systems and so forth. I think what we'll do will be way ahead of this. So I'm very proud to live in Columbus. Thank you, and I would like to introduce back William.
So thank you, everybody, for your kind comments about this study. Jaromir, you're exactly right. We're at a moment in time where this region is about to grow, and we've got new options, and we can do things we haven't even considered that we could do before. So the partners, I speak for all of us, are really excited to kick off this project today, and so excited, in fact, that we're actually holding the kickoff meeting in about an hour and a half. So it's not just a press conference today. We're actually getting down to brass tacks. to really start planning to work with stakeholders and members and different communities to look at each corridor and look at unique options. So I want to also let you all know we are working with an excellent group of consulting teams, and it's led by Calthorpe Analytics. If you don't know this firm, it's a firm that works globally to help communities prepare for growth. The Calthorpe team actually worked with us to produce the original Insight 2050 analysis. So they know Columbus, and they're ready to get started, and we're looking forward to working with them again. They're joined by Fear and Peers, who brings project experience in modeling the integration of land use and transportation, and we've got several local firms who are helping us with this major effort in outreach and implementation, folks like Engage Public Affairs, OHM, and Ice Miller too. So as I close out today's kickoff announcement, I want to invite you to stick around to do two things. I want you to take a look at these corridor maps, really dig in and look at the variety of land use and transportation options, and start to get excited about what the future is. Talk to our consultants, talk to our staff teams and our partners about what you think might happen. And if you want to stay in touch, there is a sign-up sheet in the back to get regular updates. So that's all. Thanks everybody for their support, and we look forward to working with you on this over the next year. Thanks a lot.